think I can outdo the president on that one. Go Knights! Pretty good right there. There you go. All right, thank you for being here tonight on a Sunday evening. Appreciate you guys. And I just want to first start by saying thank you to Gus Malzahn and his wife Christy for their commitment to UCF and for the past 4 years. Their work and effort during our Big 12 transition and uncertain times in college athletics was appreciated. It's also, thank you, absolutely. I'd also like to thank you, President Cartwright, members of the Board of Trustees, that helped with this search process. No athletic director can do this on his own. It takes a university to help and support our efforts. I'd also like to thank Chad Chatlos from Turnkey Search Process. I've worked with Chad for many years, over the last decade of being an athletics director, and he has been one of the best in the business that helped us when we did the search process. Anybody I wanted to talk to, he could get them on the phone, so that was great. And also, I know we got some of our coaches and our staff members in the football office. Can you just raise your hand real quick? I'd like to say thank you for holding down the fort this past week during signing day. You guys did an amazing job in an uncertain time. I know it's very emotional during signing day, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Alex Mathis and Deshaun Lawrence specifically, because I was on the phone with them a lot. And coaches, I'd like to have my recruiting rankings this past week be evaluated as well. So thank you for your help. I'm just kidding. We were on the phone with a lot of people this week. Today's a wonderful day for UCF football as we welcome back Scott Frost, his wife Ashley, and their 3 children to Orlando. Scott is no stranger to our community or proud tradition of competition built here. As a coach, he's embodied the spirit of and passion that defines Knight Nation. And his leadership during his previous tenure brought some of the most unforgettable moments in our program's history. His unwavering love for UCF makes his homecoming much more than a return to the sidelines. It's a reunion of the energy, the vision, the determination that unites us all as Knights. Throughout this national search, it became evident that Scott's passion for UCF was unmatched. His love for his players, his belief in the potential of this program made our decision clear. Scott's leadership and enthusiasm resonated with the values we uphold as UCF. He doesn't just want to coach football here. He wants to be a part of the community. He wants to inspire student athletes. He wants to carry forward the momentum that defines UCF football. In this country, no 2 athletic departments or athletics environments are the same. There are many variables and factors that equate to each institution's success. And we know Scott Frost thrived in the UCF environment. Most importantly, no one wanted to lead our program more than Scott. And that commitment speaks volumes about his character, his dedication, but most importantly, his love for UCF. As we embark on the new chapter together, we are reminded, sorry, get emotional. As we embark on the new chapter together, we are reminded of what makes this place special. It's the people. It's you all. Our student athletes, our alumni, our fans, supporters all play a vital role in driving our success. Scott's return signals a bright future, one where we can continue to dream big and achieve even bigger.
Next up, for questions and answers, same deal, please put your hand up. We'll recognize your name and affiliation. Please welcome Vice President, Director of Athletics, Terry Mohajir.
Thanks for coming. I had to go last, huh? I should have gone first, right? Matt.
Terry, I want to ask, what was this process like? How many candidates did you kind of go through, and when did you zero in on Scott?
Well, let me get my list out for you and show you real quick here. It's good. So the process, we had a pretty good idea about a week and a half before the Utah game that this could happen. And so, of course, I started working on it. And you're always thinking about people. You watch games and you have open weekends and you're always watching things. And that's what I've been doing over being over my time of a decade of being an athletic director. And so once we knew that it was going to happen, or it did happen, we went right in on Saturday. We went right into, trying to, finish up the process with Coach Malzahn. And then we started looking. And one of the first things that was important to me was to meet with the football team. So last Monday morning, I met with them at 9 o'clock, and I talked to them, and I told the whole staff, and I appreciate the current coaches that are here tonight. It's very emotional right then. So if you see, give them a hug, and there's a lot of transition going on with them as well, and their families, and a lot of anxiety. And so I wanted to be sensitive to them as well. And so, but I also know that there's a lot with the players. And so I met with them. And I met the staff, and then I met with the players by themselves. And I talked to them, and I said, tell me some criteria, tell me some characteristics you're looking in a new head coach. Just me and the players. Nobody else was in there. And I wanted them to be able to speak freely, and they did. And that's what gave me my marching orders to go find the new head coach. And that's how the process started.
Hey, Terry, Darren Stoltz, Swiss West 2, to your left.
No.
I'm in the middle.
Oh, hey.
You mentioned nobody wanted to lead this team more than Scott, but how important was it to do the national search and to go through everybody before you end up right back here?
Extremely. You have to vet everybody. And we went coast to coast, and we talked to a lot of people. We talked to people in the NFL. We talked to people that are sitting head coaches, people that weren't head coaches, that used to be head coaches. We had a lot of people on our list to talk to, and that's why the first couple of days, to be very candid with you, the first couple of days, you basically are just vetting. I'm trying to update the president on as much as I possibly can, where are we, and all that stuff, and you basically just do research, and you're watching everything. I'm looking at analytics, I'm looking at interviews, I'm looking at success, I'm looking at past. That's why you have a search firm. They help them with background checks. All that's why a search firm is good to have, because they also know, and they've been in this process, and I feel like we had the best guy working with us. And so, we vetted hard, and then I present X amount of candidates to this little committee, small committee that we had, led by the president. Obviously was the most important, as my boss, and the chair of the athletic association, and then we start from there, and then you kind of start narrowing it down and zeroing in.
Terry, Trace Trolko, Sons of UCF. During your conversations with Coach Frost, was there a moment where you went, "This is my guy"?
Moment? No, it's just a really good. Not a certain moment, because I asked a lot of questions. I hope there maybe have been a moment when you thought I was your guy that you would come here, right? Right? Maybe one moment, right? Many. No, I just, I really wanted to learn, when he was here. And obviously, we have a wonderful, that's why I got so emotional, because this place is so special, and the people are so special here, and he knows it. I know it. We all know it. All the leadership at this university knows it, and that's why it gets emotional when I see all our friends out here. And we talked a lot about that, and we talked about some of the stuff that happened at his next stop, and we just kept zeroing in, and we had other candidates in the pool too that we were zeroing in as well. And I just think at the end of the day, this is the direction we wanted to go.
Brandon Helwig, UCFsports.com. Terry, kind of along those lines, was there, I know Trace asked about a moment, but what was Coach Frost's pitch? When did you what really sold you that was the right guy for this job?
Well, I started talking to him 2 years ago when and this is honest to God's truth, about being a possible offensive coordinator. So I started developing a little bit of a relationship with him. He wasn't ready to do it yet, so we've kept in touch. He's texted, we kept in touch. So this week, how many times do you think we talked? 5, 6 times? 6 or 7 times. Just getting a feel. I wanted him to get a feel, because listen, it works both ways. He talked about it, being a partner. We are partners of him. This is not there is an org chart. Clearly there's an org chart. But to really have successful programs in college athletics, you have to have partnerships. And it has to be an internal partnership. And I think those conversations that you just continue to have kind of resonated to this is the right person.
Mike?
Yeah, Terry,
Hi, Mike.
I'm sure you talked to people.
You named our coach, didn't you, a couple days ago in your paper article, didn't you?
You
Nostradamus, man.
that would be Nostradamus.
Yeah, okay. That was good.
Did you the people you talked to about Scott?
Yeah.
Anybody stand out? Whether it be Sean McVay?
I talked to Sean McVay. I talked to Les Snead, the general manager. I talked to some people that he didn't even know I talked to.
What were some of their messages?
Really positive. Sean McVay was great. Specifically, I'm going to call you at 8 o'clock Eastern time, this time, and blah, blah, blah. Does that sound like him, Coach? He was very regimented, and he called me, and then I also talked to the general manager, talked to some of the players, talked to a lot of the former players. I really did. That was really important to me. Because they'll tell you the truth. They'll always tell you the truth. There's times where people want to help people get jobs, and you just don't know if they're just trying to help get jobs. But the players, they're authentic. They're really authentic. And those are the conversations. Those are the ones I valued the most. Obviously, his skill set, we know he has a great skill set. Sean McVay talking about his, what he's done for them this year. Obviously, Sean McVay is considered one of the top offensive minds in all of football in this country. And, him talking specifically about some things, X and O wise, was really helpful. And I think those are just all part of it. It's just not one thing. There's not Brandon, it's not an aha moment. It's just not like that. You have to have continuous conversations to get a feel. It's a feel. This is not a science, it's an art. It really is, I promise you.
Don Struble, Black and Gold Banneret.
Yeah.
Reuniting a former coach with a Power 4 program is kind of an anomaly. What about the opportunity to bring back Coach Frost stood out to you the most, and what feelings did those invoke within you?
Well, it's actually happening. There's some success. You see it at Rutgers. You saw it at Kansas State. It happens more than you think. It's happened at a couple others. And, I think I talked about it in my opening remarks is, no two athletics departments or institutions, athletics departments are alike. They just aren't. And they all have different factors and variables that go along. And just because you maybe had not as success at that one doesn't mean you can't replicate what you've done here in the past. And we started talking about sequels. I laughed. Where's Eric DeSalvo? We talked about sequels. You know what? This would be a good trivia question for Brandon to put online. Your favorite sequel, the sequel is better than one. Well, I think this is where we're going to be. I think the sequel is going to be better than one.
Oh, yeah.
Rocky 2, Godfather 2, I started naming them all. So I was like, so the sequels, so can you handle a sequel? Yeah, look at this sequel and this sequel and this sequel. And so we loved it. So.
Terry, what did some of Scott's former players from UCF tell you?
Great culture guy, loved him, do anything they can for him. The characteristics that the current players gave me, which is I've done this before, so it's very similar. You might have some tweaks here and there, but I didn't give them the answers. But I had what the players' characteristics they wanted, and almost every one of them that I talked to named every one of those characteristics. That's hard. And so that's what the former, and one of those characteristics, I'd like to keep that private with the players, because I kept everybody out there. He named 2 of them, but there's a few more. Yes, Jamie.
Scott was known for building a really strong culture here that sustained for a couple of years after he left. Just how important is that knowledge in hiring him, knowing what he did?
Absolutely, culture. A lot of people talk about culture, okay? Culture Where you stand on culture is where you sit. So some people may think culture is really good and you're not playing a lot, or you're playing a lot, and somebody that's a backup that's trying to get in the starting lineup may not feel the same way. But I think that's the question you have to ask. You have to ask the players, okay, yeah, of course the star player, he's going to say, we had a great culture. But what about the guy that's the special teams guy? The guy that doesn't play very much, the walk-on. Those are the people that you want to find out about the culture. Because those are the ones that are dying to get to that level, and those are some of the conversations I have. That's when you know there's good culture, when everybody feels the same way and is pulling together.
Terry, Tamaris Hill, Elite Empire Athletes, right here in front behind Brandon.
I keep looking over there. You guys are all right here. So.
Yeah, again, you didn't want to go too deep into the characteristics. I was going to ask you what Coach Frost embodied that made him your guy. But what about the identity or the vision that you just see for this program? Of course, you're now here in the Big 12, kind of incubated a little bit. Now it's here. What is your true vision and identity that you see for the program, not just in the community, but really just the on-field product? What would you like to see?
I mean, obviously we're disappointed this year. I mean, there's no, and I usually do a press conference when a coach leaves, but I usually talk about all this, so that's a really good question. I wasn't able to do that because we were trying to keep our players. We were talking to a bunch of players. I was on the phone with a lot of guys. I was trying to do a little bit of everything, which in the past, you didn't have to do that because you didn't have a transfer portal lurking. When you had coaching changes, you had 25 scholarships, and that's it. Guys stayed. If they wanted to transfer, they had to sit out a year to transfer. So it all changed. So this, I apologize I didn't talk about that. But yeah, I mean, I think it is, I think the sky's the limit, and that's not a cliche. I really believe that we can be a national champion program. I really, truly believe that. And I think we have to get somebody that's smart. He's very smart. Somebody that can create a good culture. He's done that and proven that. Somebody that knows offense, somebody that knows defense. He's been a defensive coordinator. And by the way, I went back and looked at his analytics at Northern Iowa. He did pretty darn good as a defensive coordinator. Played in the NFL, was a high-level quarterback. I coached against him. So he has all those characteristics that a player's looking to do. See? And then now we have you. That's why this place is special, because of everybody in this room today. The people. You guys are here tonight on a Sunday night with your families because you care about UCF football. That's amazing. That's not like that everywhere, but it is here. And I know we can get back.
Darren, final question.
Hey, Terry, just how much of a look in the mirror was this for the program? How much did you learn about where you are, maybe in regards to nationally or the Big 12, or in just how valuable was the information you were able to get out of that?
This process, the information?
Yeah, just what you got from coaching.
This year or
no,
this
coaching
year?
feedback in the search.
Every one of them. I mean,
was it a look in the mirror?
I had sitting head coaches in the Power Four that were playing this weekend that said this is the best job, one of the best jobs in the country. So we had no shortage of candidates, I can tell you that. And I continue to learn, but I knew it. What this place can be, what it can be. This was disappointing. We go back and look at what happened this year. I know, I see it. I've been around it long enough that it wasn't it was that we were very close. But things happen for a reason. And now we are where we are, so we're going to move forward. We're not going to worry about the past. And that's the process. I think, you know what? I think at week 8, if I remember right, Jimmy, I think week 8 or 9, and this is the new age of college athletics, is I think only 50% of FBS football programs were bowl eligible. I mean, even this own state, I think we weren't, there weren't bowl eligibility until like the 7th or 8th week, maybe. I don't know. You guys can fact check me on that. Don't quote me. But I think how do you sustain success? How do you get better? And I think the people that can master that, of the NIL, the transfer portal, he said he has some thoughts on that. And I think you have to hire really smart people, not just do it the way everybody's always done it. We're different. UCF doesn't have to be that way. We can do things differently. We can build from a foundation. We really can. And I've learned that because I heard a lot of coaches say, "Oh, I need the most money." Like, scratch. I need the most money. That's not how you build a team. You know the least amount of money this year in the league? By a long shot, Iowa State. They were pretty good, weren't they? Played for the conference championship last night. So that's what I've learned. And those are things, and these are high level coaches that I've talked to. Scratch. Now, does that mean you got to be competitive? Yeah, we still got to be competitive. Do we have to have rev share money? Absolutely. And we will. And we are going to be competitive. We're going to be competitive in the Big 12 and the ACC and the SEC. We have that type of money. We have it. And we're going to continue to grow. So watch out. Just watch what we can't do next. All right.